Welcome to ODTV live stream. We're here live with a few brave protesters who decided that the shooting death using super militarized ordinance of peaceful protesters at the opening of the Israel U.S. Embassy of Israel, which was mandated by Donald Trump. They came out to protest. The Palestinians came out to protest. 130 basically have already been killed in this action by the Israelites, the Zionists, that is. They killed without mercy. There was no outcry by the United States government. Business as usual, killing Palestinians. Some of us in Dallas don't like that. We're here to support Palestinian Americans, and we send you all the love, Gaza. The sign says Gaza with love. So we definitely send you all the love. So again, welcome to ODTV live stream. I've been off the air for quite a while, trying something new, which I'm calling in-game live activism. There'll be a show of 9 o'clock. We've been doing art shows to kind of warm everything up. But I'm going to get a chance to talk to some of the people involved with the organization who planned this. And I hope more of you can come out and join us. It just turned time right now for the protest to start. We're here on the Market Center Boulevard side, next to the Sheraton Suites, at the Hilton Allen's Hole entrance. If you know Dallas, you recognize this entrance. Occupy, we have been here many times at this very entrance. It tends to be where the dignitaries and whatnot entered the premises. So we want these wealthy American Jews to see that someone cares, someone in this big city of big wealth cares that 60 people were shot down with super militarized weapons. So I think one of the best persons to tell you about this is Leslie Harris. She was the first one we saw here as one of the event planners. Found me, I found him on cell phone, we found each other and then started looking for the rest of the supporters. Why don't we start with him? Is there anyone from the organization that helped to plan this?
Yes.
You are?
Yes. Well, myself and Dan, we are from Dallas Palestinian Coalition.
Correct. Could you tell us about the organization and the event in your own words?
Okay, so Dallas Palestinian Coalition is a coalition.
Could you move back just?
Sure.
Let me get out of the street. Yeah.
It's a coalition of different organizations and individuals in North Texas who are concerned about the plight of the Palestinians, and we plan to build a more stronger intersectional campaign here in North Texas for the Palestinians in terms of raising awareness and educating people about what's really going on over there.
So what has been your experience with the movement that you started, you all have started, have you had a good response? Have you had members, people from actual Palestine that are now Americans to sympathize and want to join? What has been the response?
Yeah, for sure. It has grown a lot since we really became active in December when Trump made the announcement that he wanted to declare Jerusalem the capital of the occupying power, the state of Israel. So that's when we really kind of got energized. We had a few rallies that weekend actually where more than 1,000 people showed up in Dallas and one in Fort Worth. And ever since then we have been very active. We have been having events such as poetry nights. We had a poetry event with Remy Kenazi.
Who is a Palestinian poet?
Remy Kenazi. He is a national and internationally known Palestinian poet from Brooklyn. So
I saw that advertisement.
Yeah. So we had him over. It was at the Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church in Carrollton.
Yeah.
So that was a great event. And then we try to. And last night actually we had an event in Denton.
Yeah, I tried to make that.
With the Trinity Presbyterian Church, and that event was beautiful.
Tell us about the event last night. How was it attended? And
it was attended very well. The room was packed.
Yes.
The room was. It was about 250 people there.
Wow.
And an iftar dinner was provided. First, we watched a movie called The Great Book Robbery. When the Israeli occupiers, when they ethnically cleansed the Palestinians, they robbed, stole all their books, all the privately owned and all their publicly owned
ancient books.
Yeah, like Palestinian literature. Yeah, please grab it.
I mean artifacts.
Like books, literature.
Right.
Yeah.
In order to do what, like Bonfire of the Vanities, burn people's books?
Yeah. Well, they have the books. They have saved all these literature. They have them, but they will not give them back
to
their owners.
Yeah.
So that was an enlightening movie. If you would like, it's called The Great Book Robbery.
Okay, we'll look
for that. Please look it up. And then after that, we had the iftar dinner. Mediterranean food was provided, and then after that we heard personal testimonies of Palestinians who have been impacted by the Nakba, or the catastrophe as it is known for the Palestinians.
Nakba means
catastrophe. It means catastrophe in Arabic.
Right.
So when Israel was founded in 1948. That was when the Palestinians were driven out of their land. For them, that was a catastrophe, right?
Yeah, a holocaust.
Yeah. So we heard, mainly from older generation Palestinians. There was a guy who was 82 years old, and he had obviously seen and heard and been through a lot. So he was telling his story, and there were a few others who told their story. So it was very, very enlightening. To hear.
Yeah.
And what we plan to do in Dallas Palestinian Coalition is that we plan to approach other churches as well and see if we can have educational events such as what we had last night in other churches as well, such as
so the Trinity Universalists were supportive. I mean,
Trinity Presbyterian.
Oh, Trinity Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? The Presbyterians have a good record for activism.
Yeah.
And helping.
Yeah. And actually, we're in talks right now with the Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church in Carrollton.
Right.
And we plan to have another educational event as we did last night over there in Carrollton. So
what has been the response of other Muslim organizations, not just in Dallas but nationally? We work with Raymond Meha, who is the representative of
Okay.
The Islamic American Organization.
Okay. I'm
what is
fairly
Council of the Islamic Islamic Relations.
Right. What has been the response of the council
to
this shooting?
Yeah, I'm fairly new to North Texas. For our event that we had at the Dealey Plaza, I personally went to every mosque around the Plano, Frisco, Allen, McKinney area, and passed out over 1,500 flyers. That day of the event, it was very hot, so the turnout was okay, but it wasn't as great as we thought it would be, especially from the Muslim community, because that's where we did most of our
So what would you say right now if you knew all the Muslim American community of Dallas was looking at you? What would you say to them about their lack of enthusiasm for this Nakba?
I would say, honestly, that they need to stop feeling so scared and intimidated. They need to get out of their shell, because a lot of Muslims, especially mosques, they don't like to be involved with social justice struggles because I don't know, they feel that it's something that will tarnish them or what, but they need to be more involved, especially, if not mosques, but individual Muslims, they have to be more involved, especially in this particular struggle.
Do you have a personal interest in this whole story? Do you have any family members in danger?
No, I'm not Palestinian.
Or know anyone that has any?
Since I became involved with Dallas Palestine Coalition, I've come to know more Palestinians that have gone through the Nakba and the whole ordeal. But before that, I didn't know anybody. But I am a veteran. I served in the Army as a combat medic for 4 years, and especially after the election of Trump, I took it upon myself to be more involved in social justice struggles, because I risked my life in a time of war to serve and protect our constitutional rights, and he's basically just ripping the Constitution apart. It's insane. So that's why
you probably experienced, I'm sure many of your friends are Palestinian Americans, Islamic Americans, have experienced some profiling, since the era of Trump.
Oh yeah.
So have you had anything bad happen to your particular family, or
personally? Actually, we had a
profiling and whatnot.
I had one of my nieces who was being hated on in school. She's like 9 years old. So that was very disheartening. That was right after Trump got elected too.
Yeah, we heard stories about people's lockers being written on. This has unleashed a wave of hate.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to a few more participants. Do we have anybody from the spiritual community, an imam or anybody like that that's going to come
I
to
think
this?
Imad is very spiritual.
Are you?
He would love to.
I'm sorry, I
just want to tell you one more thing.
Okay.
For your viewers, I don't know who's actually watching, but please, if you'd like to get more involved, you live in the Dallas area, North Texas area, like our page, Dallas Palestine Coalition, and if you want to really get involved besides just attending events, attending protests and such things, send us a message. And because we have monthly meetings,
right?
And we do need more manpower and more energy into this movement.
The Dallas Palestinian Coalition.
Dallas Palestine Coalition.
Dallas Palestine Coalition.
Thanks so much.
All right, viewers, get on that and look that up, sir. How do you do?
Good. I'm not. How you doing?
Are you a spiritual leader?
No, not really.
You're not an imam?
No.
I think. Can you tell us something though about your experience with this whole thing of discrimination and now these killings that happened leading up to the 60 people shot the other day? What's your take on that? Do you have family members involved, and what has happened to you and your family here in the United States?
The Palestinian people in Gaza have been under siege for the last 11, 12 years by the Israeli authorities.
Right.
There are almost 2 million people live in an open-air prison.
How are you doing?
Since the Hamas political party or the Hamas movement won the elections 11, 12 years ago, the Israelis and the Egyptian authorities took it on themselves to put a siege, 24-hour siege, 7 days a week, all around Gaza, where no fuel would come in, no food, no exports, nothing, no medical supplies. So the Israelis, in cooperation with the Egyptian government, they wanted to pressure and humiliate the Palestinian people because they elected Hamas movement as their leaders.
How do the Egyptians feel compelled to act against fellow Muslims? I don't quite understand that.
The Egyptian government, even though they are Muslims and they are Arabs, but they cooperate fully with the Israeli authorities in punishing the Palestinians in Gaza. The only time that the people in Gaza had relief was when the government of President Mohammed Morsi 4 years ago or so was in charge, was in control after. Correct. Yeah,
and he had sympathy.
Yeah, he had very good sympathy. He had opened the gates and the borders between Gaza and Egypt, and the Palestinians in Gaza were able to get in and out freely for that year when Morsi was the president of Egypt. But of course, we know that did not last for long. So the Egyptian army, in cooperation with the Israeli authorities, were able to overthrow the Morsi government and install a Sisi government right now.
I don't know. I'm stunned by the fact that people were shot with these super ordinance bullets. You heard about that story, the exploding bullets. I don't even know why we have those. Why do we want to shoot someone to kill them, and if we don't kill them, make sure they're maimed for life?
Yeah, those bullets they're supposed to be used in war against enemies, against armies.
Aggressors, right?
Yes.
Attacking the U.S. soil.
Yeah, but this one here now, they are using it against civilians who are protesting in Gaza and who want to go back to their homelands that they were kicked out of in 1947, 1948 when Israel was created.
This was in the Palestine proper, but I am failing to understand one thing about this whole story. Can you tell me about Palestinian Jerusalem citizens who lived in that city before all of this heated up? They're citizens of Israel. Correct?
Correct.
How is this for them? They are citizens. Are they being rounded up or singled out?
Before Israel was created in 1948, the Palestinians lived whether they're Muslims, Christians, or Jews, they lived together in peace and harmony.
In Jerusalem?
Everywhere in Palestine,
right.
In the whole country. See, back then, the Jews amounted to about 5% of the population. The Christian Palestinians were about 25%, and the rest were Muslims. But all of them, they lived together. They were friends and neighbors with no issues, no problem whatsoever, until the Zionist movement decided to conquer Palestine, and they decided to bring a lot of Jewish refugees from Europe. Those are Zionists that moved to Palestine in the early 1900s, and that's when the problem started.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Tell us your name.
Imad Salem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Imad. Thank you. Let's get some more interviews. Hi. Would you tell us why you decided to come and support today? What was? Are you Islamic?
No, I'm not actually. I don't have any affiliation with any religion.
Correct.
Against for human rights.
Right. And you see it as a human rights violation, what happened in Israel?
It's very personal. I mean, even if it's not happening to me, it's very personal. So, I mean, these are kids and children, and we cannot make an excuse.
There's no excuse for shooting women and children at that sense.
No. So I hope this is going to get bigger, and we're going to do more maybe, and I'm looking forward to writing letters to our Congress.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. This footage will be up on YouTube on ODTV live stream. Thank you. May I speak to you, ma'am? May I speak to you a little bit? I know you really want to. Off the camera, then.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, off the camera, just your voice. So one of the things that American thinkers, viewers, and people interested in the question of injustice in Palestine and injustice in general to Islamic Americans since the advent of Trump is the treatment of women in Islam. Can you tell us that you know, women are not mistreated in Islam, and why you feel that way, and support the fact that women are happy to be Islamic and well supported in Islam?
So a common misconception is that women are oppressed in Islam, and that's not true. Although
going that way.
Although TV and things that you see on TV and media that's available in America shows that Muslim women are oppressed. In fact, Islam gave Muslim women rights to property ownership, to take part in some of the oldest scholars in Islam were Muslim women. So it's taken these images and these videos that we see on TV about Muslim women being oppressed. They don't take into consideration cultural norms of women being covered in a society where women are covered. But as far as in America, I'm a Muslim woman. I wear hijab by choice. I work full time. I went to school, went to college. There's no oppression. In fact, I feel like hijab liberates me. I don't feel like I have to answer to anyone, or people judge me based on my appearance solely. So, you know,
It has served to liberate you.
It's all pretty much. You know, when people say Muslim women are oppressed, it's all just feeding into Islamophobia. And you know what? If Muslim women want to live their life the way they want to live their life, it has nothing really to do with anyone else.
Right.
Let's figure out why people are so afraid of Islam.
Right.
Okay, you're afraid of someone wearing a pink headscarf? Seriously? You know, like, let's focus on the real problem.
Right.
And Muslim women, you know, have attorneys. If they have any issues, they can seek legal help if they are feeling, you know, oppressed in any way. But you know, for the most part, Muslim women are treated very well, and that's what our religion
But
teaches.
you feel very empowered and
I'm very
free.
empowered. I mean, I go to protests. I mean, most people either. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Sure, no problem.
All right, you are watching ODTV live stream, and we've been talking to a few of the protesters who have come to take part. We talked to a couple of Muslim Americans, Islamic Americans. I have a couple of more questions to ask them. I think I'd like to ask a question about the season of Ramadan that we're in, and how the protesting itself might have been contrary somehow to, you know, the teachings of this fast period, that this is one of the things that you're not supposed to do. So we're going to ask that question. I just wanted to pull back so you can see Leslie and that wonderful sign that she brought us that says to Gaza with love. We really mean that. We really support the Palestinians, and I don't know what else. We don't know what else to do right now. Written our Congress people, all this is old news, called our Congress people. We've written them to say, please stop supporting apartheid Israel. Have some consciousness of human rights. There's some kind of big event at the Anatole. So just kind of blissfully unaware that people are dying and people are hurting. I see a few more people getting here. So we're going to continue to broadcast as long as people are coming. I see a familiar face from the Brown Beret. I don't know his name. I'm going to go and greet him in a minute and talk to Leslie and just see what their organizations have, you know, coming up. Leslie was reminding me of something that happened through her Veterans for Peace organization, and they had this wonderful wall display to go up on the wall, you know, with a justice message. So we're going to talk to the different people in the organization. Well, at least the Brown Beret, which is the indigenous rights movement as well, and then I see John Fullenwider, a very well-known activist in Dallas, and again Leslie Harris, and we're going to ask them what is going on and what's coming up and what's new. Hi, welcome to the protest. I see the Brown Beret over here, and I want to come and ask you what's going on with the Brown Beret right now, and what is coming up that you can tell us about your well-known organization that we really respect here in Dallas as activists, and we want to know what's going on and what's coming up.
Well, my name is Leroy Pena. I'm the Prime Minister of the Brown Berets of Semanawak, Dallas-Fort Worth chapter. And we're a relatively new organization. The Brown Berets have been around for over 50 years, but we just started ours less than a year ago. So, but we're taking it in a different direction than the traditional Brown Berets
that started.
Yes, a lot of the same things, but we're more towards unity, especially Black and Brown unity. And because right now we're under attack, the Black people, the Brown people,
right,
people of all ethnicities right now. So whenever I get a chance to reach out to another community, you know, because it's all part of the same struggle.
Right,
so,
we're all under the same gun, pretty much.
Yeah,
you know, and experiencing the same discrimination, etc.
Yeah, because right now, you know, Black people are getting murdered more or less by police officers, you know, legal murder, because none of them, very, very few of them are ever getting charged.
And that happens as well to Latinx people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm Apache also.
Yeah.
We're the highest group for population. We have the highest rate of getting killed by police
incidents.
Yeah.
Right. On nation property.
Yeah, in Arizona with that young Lori Sinjini, that young mother who got shot by 5 times.
On reservation property.
Sometimes they're on the reservation. Sometimes they're in the little communities that are right outside
Nearby,
where they have
right.
to shop and everything.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what we're bringing right now, attention to that. And then we have missing and murdered indigenous women.
You know Jody Boy?
Yeah.
Jody and Snowy
I don't know
Boy
her-
from Dallas.
I don't know her personally, but I know
Yeah,
her.
I know her. Yeah, well, she
Yeah.
was talking about that case.
Yeah, well, we're really involved with missing and murdered indigenous women right now, trying to bring attention to it.
All those cases.
Yeah, and we just did a red ribbon tie-off at Clyde Warren Park because Kelsey Warren, being the one who owns the pipeline,
Right, DAPL.
when his pipelines go up, he puts up these man camps where the workers go live, and they seem to, the crime rate in those areas seems to rise up exponentially.
Especially
There's
rape
missing girls,
and murder.
there's sex trafficking, all this other stuff that goes on when those camps come up. So we hold him personally
Kidnapping of the
responsible.
girls?
Yeah, they go missing is the term. They never see them again, or when they do find them, they've been assaulted or.
So this is all part and parcel of the new atmosphere of white supremacy that seems to have been, stirred up by the election of Trump.
Yeah.
I remember the night he got elected, there were gunshots going off right here up and down Central and 35. You could hear them riding up and down, shooting off shotguns.
Yeah, that night, inauguration, I actually burned, I have a Trump piñata, and I burned it there in downtown Dallas on inauguration night. So
Good
the
for
show.
you.
But
Do you have any other meetings or protests, or do you have a monthly meeting? What if a Latinx person is watching this and say, I would really like to get involved with Brown Beret? How would they?
Well, we have a Facebook page, Brown Berets of Semanawak. That's how you spell Semanawak.
Simunawak.
Yeah, we can get a close up of that. This is us right here.
Yeah, Simunawak.
Brown Berets of Semanawak. With that word,
I will
there,
type something to them as
they'll
well.
be able to find us through there. And
Oh, wow.
we're always looking for people who want to help out the community.
Right.
And pretty much, no one has a squeaky clean pass, more or
Right.
less, And
So don't let that stop you.
yeah, don't let that stop you. If you've done time, if you paid your debt
Yes,
to society, and you want to do good for your community now, even though you've been screwing up your whole life. Well, we give them the opportunity to try to better their communities. Is what we do.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming to this Palestinian support
It's my pleasure.
event.
Any opportunity for a protest. I'm Apache, so we kind of follow the trouble. Or we kind of follow the cause.
Apache Japoni.
Yeah, we got that like some kind of mineral in us that so we can detect it. Yeah, we got some kind of element.
My grandmother is Choctaw.
Oh, Choctaw.
Yeah, she's not full-blooded, of course, but I have the blood. So we understand the struggle.
We don't. Not
Indigenous
only-
struggle has just become, I guess, since the 70s and whatnot, become more of a thing, to where indigenous people are now saying, no, we're not going to be idle anymore.
We've had support from throughout the years, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X,
Yeah.
Luther King. A lot of black leaders have come up and spoke out in our favor.
Encourage you, yeah.
So, we've got, that's what we have to do right now. We have to try to bring out that unity again that we had when the Black Panthers and the Brown Berets once, they united together to fight racism and injustice. So
Those were the days.
that's what my group is really reaching out. We're trying to accomplish right now. That unity.
Tell us your name again.
Leroy Pena,
Leroy
Prime
Pena.
Minister, Brown Berets of Semanawak, Dallas Fort Worth chapter.
John, the great activist of Dallas. Please tell us what is going on in Dallas activism and what you're involved with right now, and what you're not involved with. Might be a shorter list, huh? All right. Somebody get the sign for John so he can turn around and talk to us. All right. Okay, you can hold it and stand back. All right. Just tell us about your organization that you're involved with now. Because we haven't talked to you in a while.
Right. Well, I'm mainly working with Mothers Against Police Brutality.
Right, I remember you were so involved with them. How is Colette and what's going on with them?
Things are looking good. You know, we're pushing it. We have a plan we're trying to scale up our national activities, hoping to get some national reforms. I hope we get a new Congress, plant a few seats for that.
Reforms of police departments and policies?
Right. Mainly the use of deadly force. We're looking to get a lot of activists, of course, in the Trump era sort of given up on the federal government to protect human rights, but we're not doing that. Trump is temporary, and we're going to plant the seeds for federal prosecutors in all police shootings. That's one of our major goals.
So when you mention ordinance, and that's part of this story we're out here for, these super ordinance that explode in a body and maim the body. Is MAAP and other organizations formed because of police on black and minority shootings talking about ordinance? I heard
talking about that militarization of the police.
Somebody say something about rubber bullets. That'll never happen in the United States.
Well, God knows what'll happen, Sometimes things seem impossible until they change,
right.
So
so that could be like a thing that we might have ordinance that are no longer deadly, that just stop you, they don't kill you.
Well, it'd be a good idea. The de-escalation generally would be good for the country. We have this horrible carnival of violence in the schools and any place where people gather. So I think de-escalating on the police side and just the interpersonal and anti-social violence that we see would be a good thing. I'm also working with the Texas Tenants Union on trying to stop gentrification and build up more affordable housing.
I've been wondering how we will bring that fight. My landlady doesn't understand fixed income, and that she can't, because she's getting dinged by all the higher taxes in gentrified North Dallas. Why not just raise the rent up? So
well, yeah, I mean the market's always going to push for higher prices. That's true, but the big gap is the like the cruel indifference of city councils, not only in Dallas but around the country. They love gentrification. Do you feel like that?
Do you feel like city council has the power to excuse higher tax rates where people of low income and fixed income are living? That they could actually make a statement to say or make an ordinance to say you're not going to get dinged with higher taxes because you're a low income family.
Well, they do. You get a tax break for being elderly, so they are things that they can do like that. Some of them might require some state law, but they don't even try. I mean, they just
the city of Dallas.
You'll be living in a little frame house and it's zoned for townhouses, and so it's going to be torn down for townhouses. That's the way the system works.
Can't afford the tax.
And then they don't even give you any relocation money. So the problem is not. I mean, the market's a problem for lowest income people, low wage earners, and very poor people.
You heard of Raymond Mayha talking about gentrification, and he kind of took that on. I don't know what has happened since then, but is there any game plan, or is there any thing that you'd like us, the Dallas activist community, to support you?
Well, one thing, we take a tenant rights approach to it. Tenants are really treated like second-class citizens.
So tenant at a time, one tenant at a time?
No, not one tenant at a time, but tenant organizing.
Okay.
Tenant organizing. You should talk to Sandy. She runs a tenants union.
Oh, excellent.
In fact, she even knows all about the property tax thing you're just mentioning for low-income.
Right, how Dallas is able to go ahead and maintain a high property tax, that it raises up to recoup income in a place where building values and property values are gone up because of the condos. What does Dallas even want to do for, could you come over here and stand where he is? I don't have to readjust the camera. What does Dallas actually do for its citizens in that regard? If you're a poor citizen of Dallas living in a place that's been
gentrified.
Right,
well,
gentrified.
People have been pushed out of their communities.
They can't pay the taxes?
Well, again, I work with tenants who would be paying taxes through their landlord, through their rent.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely lower income homeowners who are living in parts of town that they still don't know. And my apologies
notices to vacate when their landlord decides to redevelop. And the Texas Apartment Association, which is the landlord's trade group, has a very widely used lease contract for anybody in apartments, and they actually incorporated into the fine print of that lease that in the event of redevelopment, if they decide they want to demolish and not use it as rental property for at least 6 months, the tenant will get a 30-day notice. So people can sign a lease for a year, think they're secure for a year, and then all of a sudden get the boot.
Yeah.
So last legislative session, we got a bill introduced into the Texas legislature, which would have required at least 120 days notice, would have required an opportunity to purchase for tenants,
right?
If it were a single-family home or duplex. At least 180 days notice if it was school-age children during the school year, or so that there would be no displacement of school-age children during the school year.
Right.
That bill did not pass. The city of Dallas just passed a comprehensive housing policy on May 9th. And in that policy, they claim that there is a shortage of 20,000 units in Dallas for both homeownership and rental. There's a group called BC Workshop that a year ago put out a study called the State of Dallas Housing that found that there are 68,000 households in Dallas that can't afford to pay more than $400 a month in their housing costs. That figure rings truer to me than there's 20,000 for both homeownership and rental. So they set out these goals to produce these 20,000 units, and they're going to provide incentives to developers, which they already do, to produce new housing units, more for home ownership than for rental. And on the rental side, more for people at the high end than at the low end.
Yeah.
So they're incentivizing development for people who make like $54,000 a year for one person, and 64 for one person. It's 100 and 120% of the area median income. And the way they determine affordability is you pay 30% of your income on your housing costs. So the rents at that level are over $1,200 a month for an efficiency. It could be a 400 square foot efficiency.
Because they set the median in Dallas so high.
Well, the median is set, by the area, so it includes Highland Park, it includes University Park, and so they're not using the median income for people who actually live in Dallas. But our point, and when I and others, members of our organization, testified at City Hall, it was we need more housing for people at the lower end because that's what's not being developed with the bank loans. You can get a bank loan, and obviously they have, to put up all kinds of high-cost housing all over, anywhere near downtown.
Right.
I mean, Oak Lawn, Oak Cliff, West Dallas, and a lot of this came through, some of it anyway, was subsidized through the city, something called tax increment financing districts. So the Cypress at Trinity Groves, which is the first development when you cross the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge into West Dallas, that loan, that $13.9 million went to Roger Staubach and a partner to put up 349 units. They have what I call a pretend affordable housing set aside. 20% of them are supposed to be affordable to people making 80% of the area median income. But again, do the math on that, and it can be an efficiency for over $1,000 a month.
Right, because of where they survey.
And meanwhile, the tenants who are renting from HMK Realty, Crush and Hannah Crush, the father-son team that decided to close their houses about a year ago.
On that side of the bridge.
Yeah, there were about the 305 houses, about 50 or 60 were in Oak Cliff, and then the rest in West Dallas. And I was involved in the tenant organizing there. Yeah, and they eventually, he agreed to sell where he doesn't want to develop in West Dallas, but he wants to put townhomes, luxury townhomes, in around Juanita Flores Park, which is right off of Singleton and Sylvan. Has a nice view of downtown. So there are bulldozers out there last week and the week before. There's fresh dirt out there right now.
Listen, let me ask you on behalf of activists, is there any truth to, I guess, what is an urban legend that the federal government mandates a certain amount of units in every structure. B for low income.
The tax increment financing district policy says there's going to be an affordable housing set aside. The federal government, at least until this administration, although I don't think they've completely erased it, even if they want to, says any city that gets federal funds has a duty to affirmatively further fair housing. So they have to not only not discriminate against people, but they have to take steps to try to further fair housing. And clearly, what has been going on in Dallas at this point, I think, is not that.
No.
Now, this new city policy, I mean, they're claiming, 10% for people for like minimum wage workers, and 10% for somebody maybe making $25,000 a year or less. But again, they've got twice as many incentives going for the higher cost housing than they do for the lower cost housing. And the higher cost housing is already being built, and it's pushing people out of downtown. Out of their community.
Yes, pushing people out of their homes. And the owners who are renting to someone don't have much of a choice but to raise the rents to match these raising taxes that are like crazy.
Well, possibly. I think what happens with the owners, some of them, they see the opportunity when somebody else comes along and say, "I'll buy your lot," in order to take down this $8,000 house to put up a $700,000 house, which is going on in East Dallas right now. We have a friend that lives on, she's a retiree, and her house is a 2-bedroom frame house.
And she's under the gun.
And there's 8 lots on her block that have new, very modern structures. She and her neighbors say they look like dental offices. They do. They are. They're not at all compatible with the architecture in that community.
There's no historic valuation of these poor people's homes, even though they're brick stylized homes, unique to all of Dallas. There's no other home like that in Dallas. That's how unique they are, but they are not considered historic under anybody.
So it's, I think the city really does need to step up. It was disappointing that they didn't step up more in this plan that they passed, but I think people who live in Dallas should be on their council person going forward. They said they're going to monitor and reevaluate after 18 months to see how things are going. One of our recommendations to the city is, one, tenants ought to have a right of first purchase. Washington, D.C. has something called the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, and they provide technical assistance and funding to help people buy out their buildings and stay in their community. Well, it's for their tenant association. So a group like ours, I work for the Texas Tenants Union. We help people form tenant groups at the apartment complex level. If we had a Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act and some help from the city behind it, the people being pushed out of Oak Lawn right now, the people being pushed out of Bishop Arts right now, the people being pushed out of East Dallas right now.
Belmont Park is where I live.
Yeah.
Everybody's being pushed out.
Right. Might have a chance of saying, "Hey, we live here too. Hey, we've been here. Hey, we help make this city run."
Tell us your name again and your organization, and how can people get in touch? How can people get involved?
Okay. And my name is Sandy Rollins, Rollins. I'm with the Texas Tenants Union. We're on the web, www.txtenants.org. We're on Facebook, Texas Tenants Union, all spelled out.
They can find that.
We run free workshops in our office every Wednesday night at 6:30 to go through what your rights are, how to stand up when you're dealing with a dispute.
Could you take over for Leslie so I can find out what's going on with Cold Pink?
Can you tell me who you are?
I'm Byron Montgomery. I'm from Occupy. This is Occupy Dallas TV channel.
Okay, great.
OETV live stream.
Okay, I should know you.
Sure. Leslie, it's your turn. Sorry. The picture is their event here. Now, what's the event that was here that we were trying to catch?
It's the 70th anniversary of Israel. And so when I went online and saw that event, it said Mike Huckabee and some other reverend, but Robert Jeffries was what I heard.
Dallas Baptist?
Yeah, Dallas Baptist.
He's already under protest by activists on his own. Every protest. All right then, you guys, that's it. So it's nice little turnout of people who came to be concerned about what's going on.
I want somebody to hold the sign so I can go take a picture. Sure. Do you mind holding the sign for a second? I'm going to go over there and take a picture of everybody.
And we'll take a picture of you taking a picture. Oh, I bought one. I actually did bring one. You're welcome. So that's about it for us. Small little protest. Not a lot of people came out, but it does show that we in Dallas have some feelings about what just occurred in Palestine. You heard the gentleman speaking about the large turnout, 250 people that came to Trinity Church in Dallas. We weren't able to go and hear that speaker last night. We didn't get the arrangements to catch the train in time, and just had a lot to do and didn't get organized to go to that one. But we're here tonight to show you that Dallasites do have a response. We love Palestinians as we do all human beings, and do not agree with anything close to the response that killed 60 people, that have killed close to 130 people since the beginning of these protests. So we're going to leave you now, and we'll see you at the next event. I actually think there's something coming up Sunday, but we no longer, I apologize that we did not announce this broadcast. We no longer announce the broadcast because the guys behind the scenes set up to block the broadcast, knowing when we're going to broadcast. So we just start, and it doesn't seem like they can jump in and get it when we just started up ourselves. So thank you for joining us on OD TV. We'll see you next time.